Look at that. Everything is green. That's weird because it's the first week of August and that's not normal. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday the 5th. And when I say we are in the monsoon flow this year, it's been a interesting last 2 weeks, let's put it that way. Thunderstorms popping up out of nowhere and just sitting stationary, dumping unreal amounts of rain. Had one last night. Town got 2 inches, farm got nothing. I'll go show you that later. But anyways, right now, heading to get some breakfast. Let's get this day going, figure out what fun-filled activities we got going on today, huh? Alright, we got the crew fanning out. Got weed choppers gonna take off here as soon as Kenny gets back from coffee. Little sprayers are leaving, the 2 of them. Bart and Glenn are working on the 9800 and the heads because silage is approaching rapidly. Thank God that 12-row head is in really good shape to where it's minimal effort on it, because the 10-row head we worked on for like 2 weeks. We don't have 2 weeks. Aaron and Cody are going to work on the corrals. I'll show you what we've got going on that later. Right now I'm running to make copies of some spray maps, go turn in to the fly boys so we can get some more spider mites taken care of on our corn. Yeah, exciting stuff, let me tell you. Here is an example of what I take over to them. I've got the farm here, splits there for share crop. I label what each field is, highlight where they need to spray. 3 pites comite, that's the chemical they're using. All right, let's go turn all these in. That's what you call a quick turnaround. Turn in the maps at 9:30. Plane's already here at 11:30. Let's do that again. Man, I could just sit and watch spray planes all day. It's fascinating. So yeah, it's after lunch now. Headed to the post office, drop off a couple of bills, or checks for bills. Kind of got everyone spread out again. It's weird. So the big chief, I mean, like anyone, takes a vacation every summer. Just so happened this is the week he chose to be gone. And normally, it's fairly easy in the summer to keep everyone moving. You know, we got 8 full-time guys when he's gone, plus 3 part-time. That seems like a lot, but when we're haying, I mean, you know, you got a swather, 2 rakes, 2 balers, 2 loaders, 2 semis, shop work, feeding cattle, working on this, working on that, fixing fence, irrigation. We've got all these things to do. This time, however, though, it's been incredibly hard for me to think of random stuff, because the big chief is great at thinking of that. I always tell him that too. I go, that's the one thing I have not figured out, is how to think of all the little projects, you know, to have 2 guys work on this, 2 guys work on that. He's really good at that. Well, where we're stuck in this monsoon flow, we've done almost no haying since he left. And I am running out of ideas. Luckily, he gets home tomorrow afternoon, and I'm sure he'll think of 10 projects that I did not think of. Well, it's just one of those deals. It drives me nuts trying to think of all the different projects to have people working on whenever he's gone. Because I'm used to kind of meeting with him about every night. We come up with a game plan for tomorrow, and then I'm usually on a chopper, a sprayer, a baler, first thing in the morning whenever he kind of sends everyone out to do all the little things that we had talked about. But it helps every night, you know, whenever you drive around and check each farm each day, it helps every night to have that conversation of, all right, here's what needs to get done, and here's how to spread everyone around. I'm good for about 4 days, and then I start struggling, especially when there is no tractor work going on. But Forecast has suddenly changed. The last week it's been beautiful. It was in the 80s. Pretty hazy from all the wildfires, but you know, it is what it is there. But it's been in the 80s during the day, 60s at night, some decent rains moving through. Next 4 days, 100, 102, 103. So we're getting into some prime haying weather, which is good because we've got a lot of hay to put up before we start silage in 2 weeks-ish. Got a neighbor already ready to cut now, so time to start pushing. I was just coming out of town, got the thing, and I wanted to show you guys something. So I think in the earlier clip I was talking about the monsoon flow that we're dealing with now. What that is just this late July through mid-August flow of moisture that comes up from Mexico. And for us, we rely heavily on that arriving every year, because late July, usually our storage water in our lakes is run out and the snowpack is melted off and we start running out of irrigation water. So we rely on the late July, early August thunderstorms to either rain here directly on the farms or rain west of us, kind of on the mountains, so that way we can get the runoff to come down our canal, get more irrigation. Without that monsoonal flow, we have a lot of trouble getting our corn to go all the way to grain, stuff like that. I mean, everything runs out of steam and burns up. It's the way it is farming in the desert. Well, what night was it? Saturday night, we had pop-up thunderstorms show up. We got anywhere from 1.5 inches, about 6 miles north of me, to a 1/2 inch right here. That's how quickly it changed. Well, yesterday, all afternoon, town right there, 2 miles away, they got over 2 inches of rain. Where I am sitting right here, we barely got to 2/10 of rain. That's the way these pop-up thunderstorms work in this monsoon. You either get right on the bullseye and potentially get more than your soil can handle, or you get just the right amount, or you get just enough to where you go, man, if we would have just had a little bit more. But I thought I'd show that to you. It's pretty fascinating. A 2 mile difference equates to essentially 2 inches difference in rain. Because when I went to town yesterday, Main Street was flooded. 4-lane highway was now 2-lane highway. Oh, it was a mess. And then at our shop a couple miles north of here, the ground didn't even get wet. One of those fun-filled things, I guess. One last thing I wanted to do is give you guys a little bit of a chopper update. This is kind of a hot mess, so we'll skip that for now. Pickup head, it's almost put back together, ready to go. Very minimal to do on it because it's only had one spring run, so it's in good shape. This is the one I was running. Glenn's that we've had for a couple years is in rough shape. It's going to take a little while. Looks like he got the chains tensioned. I think there was 2 teeth broken, no big deal. The row head, yes, it is a dirty mess because it never got washed off at the end of last year. It got cleaned off, but it didn't get washed. Cameron went through it, drained most of the gearboxes. I think he's a couple shy, but you can see all them buckets under there. So each drum has a gearbox. Behind each drum is a transition gearbox. Then you got this little guy on each side, these 2 tall guys on each side, where the PTO shaft hooks up. Ton of gearboxes. No metal that we've seen so far, like no big chunks came out. We need to screen the oil as we dump it into the oil burner, just make sure it's clean. If those are all good, we're just going to pump it back full of oil and go. Because this header was brand new last year, the points are still in really good shape. The blades, knives, whatever, were changed not too long before we were done, so they're actually good enough to run for quite a while. Now the hot mess. So we knew we were going to have some issues. We found a lot more than we were expecting. This bearing right here is out. In order to get to that bearing, you got to take all that apart. And then we found out, nope, that won't even work either, because see all them bolts? You got to take that whole end off. Well, that end won't fit out that hole. So now we got to pull the whole drum forward. which means this perfectly good gearbox over here that doesn't have anything wrong, we got to tear it apart because this shaft goes all the way to the far end over there. Awesome. In here, rolls are good. Shear bar, I think they just turned it because it had, yeah, it's got some pretty big dings right here. Yeah, there's a big hole right there. For you chopper guys, the liner that is on the bottom side of this knife drum, kind of right in this area, is called the spiral band. Like I said, for you chopper guys, you know what a spiral band is? This one, Duralined, which means hardened, $5,500. If you're not a chopper person, it's a shield about double the size of this one, kind of dimension wise. It's not that big. 5,500 bucks. That's awesome. They already moved the junk liners, so I can't show those to you. So the green tube right there, you can see these bolts sticking out. There's liners inside there. Those were shot. That is what caused Glenn's chopper to have an end to harvest, because the liners had holes and they peeled out and it stopped the crop flow and made a mess. Mine wasn't far from doing that. So Bart already got those changed out. That is the blower right there. Each of those slats is supposed to have a paddle on it. Man, they cleaned up too good. That's already gone too. So we're waiting on the paddles. They didn't make it on UPS today. So yeah, this thing's taking quite a bit of work, and we haven't even got to the spout yet, which the spout we got to take off from that connection right there to that connection right there. There's like a 6-foot section there. We take that off and go get the 12, 15-foot section that's back over there hiding. Like I said, a long ways to go, and we got one customer saying he's already ready to chop. So we got to keep flying through this, and hopefully we'll be ready. I'm gonna go check some hay. Talk to you guys later.